Hello, welcome to Cooking with Gina. My name is Gina Virginia Casella, and today I'm going to be making one of my family favorites, Aliol. It's basically just a bunch of chopped up garlic with, you can use olive oil. Today I'm going to be using canola oil, and that's pretty much it. And you mix it up with some spaghetti noodles. That's my personal favorite, or you can use any other kind of pasta noodle. So I'll show you the ingredients as I'm working away. And I'm wondering, how do you substitute and what are your family favorites? I'm also wondering if you use olive oil or canola oil. Typically, I like to use olive oil when I do this, but I've got here ready to rock and roll some canola oil. So both I'm indifferent to, actually, but if it was for a salad or something like that, I definitely want to use olive oil. So I'm wondering about you. I'm also on the tired side today. As we enter the season of dreams, I find myself just really sleepy, and that happens to me every fall and spring transition, and I'm wondering if you can relate. And just a reminder to be kind to yourself. You know, I'm the kind of person that I already need a lot of extra sleep, and so when I'm experiencing these seasonal changes, then it's like I need even more sleep. So I'm wondering about you and how you can relate in the comments. So I've got 2 nice hearty cloves of garlic here. I'm gonna bust these babies open and get chopping. So I wanted to just remind you that if you don't have fresh ingredients like fresh garlic, you can always use powdered garlic. It's just as good. Of course, fresh you can't beat. And I'm wondering, where do you get your garlic from? What's your routine? What do you use? Let me know in the comments. And I'm not used to cooking in this kitchen, so I hope you, I wonder if you can relate to that as well, just the organization of things. So whenever I'm chopping up some garlic, I just break it all apart. And one good strategy is you just take a clove at a time, give it a good squash with the knife, and then you can just cut off that little end, and it comes off nice. So I'm just going to sort this out. And I'm feeling a little bit spoiled right now because at the grocery store, for years, I've been buying garlic that's already peeled. So it's been a real lifesaver for me. And so I'm just feeling a bit nostalgic now, peeling this garlic and chopping it away. And it smells fantastic. And I'm wondering if you can relate. So I'm done peeling my garlic here. And how much do I have? I don't know, this much here, a good handful, couple handfuls. And I don't mind if the garlic has some green on it. I did have to throw away some of it because it was molded, and that's okay. That kind of stuff happens. And it's just a reminder to keep an eye on your garlic, potatoes, that kind of stuff, because we tend to store them in dark places, and we forget about them. And but they can get molded, and even things like apples. And I was just having this conversation with my mom, actually. We were talking about food appreciation. And I used to work at the grocery store years ago when I was a teenager. And I just loved it because at nighttime, all the tomatoes would go on the reduced rack ready for the next day. And so I would get like 5 or 6 tomatoes for, I think it was like 50 or 60 cents. And all of the buns, they would put it in a big bag ready for the next day, and they would charge people 99 cents for it. So myself, the other cashiers and colleagues, we would always run to the reduced rack. So we got dibs on that. That was one of the perks. And I remember telling somebody about this, because if you want fruits or vegetables or bread that's ready to eat that day or the next day, the reduced rack is a great rack to go and check out. The trouble is, however, a lot of grocery stores these days have rotting fruit on the rack, and it's really taking away from the point of food appreciation. And so if you're a grocer, I'm wondering what you do, how you're managing food, because one apple really does spoil the bunch. And so it's really important to make sure that you're turning over your food and that you're eating the fresh stuff. For example, something like strawberries, they tend to ripen a lot faster than apples. And so those are just some things to consider. And I'm wondering if the struggle is real for you too, trying to find balance stocking up on groceries, and then it's like there's this urgency to eat the food. And I think we're all guilty of having bananas that ripen a bit too fast. And we all have this idea that we're going to make banana bread, and then we don't. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And I'm wondering if you can relate as well. In the past, when I have an abundance of garlic, especially this time of year, or if I'm just trying to manage food, what I'll do is I'll bake the garlic and then I'll wrap it up into pieces of tin foil, and then it's just something nice that I can grab from the freezer to sneak into a wrap or spread on garlic bread. And something that I've never done, that I've been saying I'm going to do for years, is that I'm going to do this thing where you take herbs, chop them up, mix it with some oil, put it in an ice cube tray to freeze, and then you crack the ice cube tray and put it in a Ziploc bag, and then it's like, you know, ready and convenient to add to soups and stir fries. But I've never actually done that. So I'm wondering if you have, and what kind of oils you use. So I'm interested. So I'm going to chop this up. Whenever I'm chopping garlic, I just go to town chopping it, and I just keep chopping until it gets nice and small. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm wondering, you know, can you really have enough garlic? Probably not. But I find if you add too much garlic, then it just it doesn't taste any more powerful. It just gets to a point where it just tastes really garlicky. So I'm wondering if you like your garlic on the chunky side, or if you like to shred it. Depending on what I'm doing, if I'm making a tomato salad, I tend to shred it in there. But when I'm making aliol, I just chop it. So I'm going to do that right now. So I've got my garlic chopped up here, and my intention is basically just to pan fry it with a bunch of oil. But I was thinking about how I'm transitioning into the vegan cuisine. So I also have some brown lentils. I've never cooked with them before. I'm gonna mix some cumin with those and add some garlic. So I'm just gonna save some garlic for that. And I also want to make some garlic bread. I have some naan bread, so I'm going to transform it into garlic naan bread. So I'm going to just take a bit of that too. So I'm just organizing my garlic here, if you will. But most of the garlic, I want it to be for my sauce. So I'm just going to give my hands a little rinse-a-roo, and I'll be right back. So tonight, I'm not really interested in having leftovers, just want to feast tonight. If there's leftover, so be it. I found this little pot here, so I filled it up with water. I'm going to get it boiling, and then I'm going to put my lentils in there. So I'm not familiar with this oven. We'll see how it is, but I'm going to turn it on high right away, which I think it's this button. Sometimes I confuse which one is which. I'm wondering if you can relate. Sometimes these pictures, they make so much sense, and then other times I have these moments where I'm like, well, is it for this one? Is it for that one? So I'm wondering if you can relate. It's really humid here today, and I'm wondering, how's the weather where you are? Just before I rinse my lentils, I wanted to show you I found some fresh parsley in the garden, and I also found a nice red hot pepper, chili pepper. So I'm gonna rinse those first and just put those off to the side. So the folks I'm cooking for today, I know that they're big garlic fans, but I'm not sure about spice. I know one of them is like me and really likes spice. The other one, I'm not so sure. So I'm just going to chop this up and keep it on the side. And I just wanted to let you know that I did turn on the right element. So the lentils, how many am I cooking? I don't know, this much. I got a few handfuls. I'm gonna give them a rinse right now. And I wanted to know if you've ever cooked with brown lentils before. I have experience with the red lentils. They're orange in color, but they're called red lentils. And recently I've cooked a lot with green split peas and yellow split peas, but this is my first time with brown lentils. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be like the red lentils. Intentionally, they get kind of mushy, and that's what I'm after today. I think anyways, I want to put it on like as a spread on the garlic bread. I might change my mind, and that's one of the beauties about cooking is you can forward your ways, and that's how the present moment works in setting goals as well. You want to work with the logical mind, linear time, and set goals, but you also don't want to get hung up on those end results, because when we get too hung up on the end result, we get frustrated, and often the universe is redirecting us when things don't work out, or we might come across a different spice in the kitchen, for example, and then now we're all inspired to do something else. And so I'm wondering if you can relate, and if you've ever cooked with brown lentils before, and what have you made with them? I'd love to know in the comments. So typically I like to cook with olive oil or canola oil. When I'm deep frying, I prefer canola oil, and when I'm pan frying, I prefer olive oil. This is canola oil, so that's what I'm going to use today. And I'm transitioning into the vegan lifestyle, but the folks I live with are not. So I'm hoping that I'll inspire them. They're going to be getting a new fridge, actually, so we're just going to make do with non-perishables and then stock up on fresh stuff. So that's great, because I'm finding a lot of vegan cuisine incorporates a lot of non-perishables anyway, like beans, lentils, snap peas, and I'm wondering if you can relate seeds and dried fruits and whatnot, like I've been using oats to get those nutrients in. As much as I love pasta, I have to remind myself that I still need some kind of protein in there. And so that's where these brown lentils are coming in handy. So instead of adding butter when it's done, I'm going to add canola oil. So just wanted to let you know that. Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I did notice that this water is boiling, so I'm going to add the lentils. So I'm still getting used to this kitchen, and definitely had to turn on the fan. There's a fan under here, so hopefully that's going to help, and hopefully you can still hear me okay with this microphone. So my lentils are boiling away here, and now I'm just going to use this element. And I'm getting used to this oven. I'm going to put it on 5. I'm going to add some canola oil to the pan. And I need to add a lot because this is my sauce. Now, when you're making this, at least for me, I find that I like it to be on the dry side. So there's a fine balance of how much oil you're using, and if it ends up being too dry, the good news is you can just sneak in more oil afterwards. So I'm just going to let this heat up a little bit, and then I'm going to add my garlic. So just getting myself organized here in the kitchen. I just turned my big cutting board around, and with the parsley, I'm just pinching off the big leafy pieces and the stems. Those can go in the compost if you have one. I don't. So that's something to consider, is a compost. I'm wondering if anybody out there composts, if you use those red worms, I think are what are recommended. This parsley is very hardy. And the parsley I'm going to add at the last minute to the Aliol. This, on the other hand, I'm still not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it. I think I might just kind of sprinkle things with it, or leave it on the side to sprinkle things with. See what it transforms and transcends into. So there were a lot more of these in the garden, but they were on the green side. And I like it when they're green because they're not as hot and intense, but I also like it when they're red. So I'm just going to do a little taste test here. And it's good. It tastes like a red pepper. It has a little bit of spice to it. It's not overwhelming. It's getting spicier in my mouth, however, but it's good. And something to be mindful of are the seeds. So as I'm chopping this up, I think I'm just going to maybe slice it lengthwise here. And just put the seeds right into the garbage. If I had time, I could make it a point to separate these seeds and dry them out and put them on the side. That way I have nice hot seeds ready to put on pizza or spaghetti or whatever I want. So I'm just thinking of different things I could do. Like I could stuff this maybe with the lentils. That would be nice. There's lots more red peppers in the garden, and I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get a couple more. Oh, and I'm just going to turn this off and remove from heat, just so the house doesn't burn down as I do that. So I'm back. It didn't take me very long, and I'm just going to get this stuff back on my element. So I wasn't gone very long at all. And that's the thing about cooking. It doesn't matter if you leave the kitchen for 2 seconds, whatever your intentions are. If you've got something on the stove, turn it off, remove it from the heat. If something's baking in the oven, make sure you've got your apron on to remind you that something's going on in the kitchen. Okay, so I like to keep a towel close by just for my hands. I gave these a rinse, and I got 2 more red. And then I saw these green ones. There were more green ones as well, but I just thought I'm gonna get these just to have more color, and it's nice to have you know, some variety, some a little spicy, some not so spicy. And then I'm just gonna eat this one now. Really good. There was some basil as well, but tomorrow or sometime in the near future, I'm actually going to be making a basil sauce. So I'm just going to save that for that. Really good. And this wasn't too spicy, but these seeds are. I'm just mindfully eating around it. So I noticed my oil is pretty much ready. Yeah, I find it's actually too hot. So I'm going to just take this right off the element and let it cool down for a little bit. So I guess this oven is like the last one that I was using. It just heats up really fast, and that's okay. Give me a chance to take the seeds out of here. And I'm going to mash up my lentils, mix it up with some garlic, and then I'm going to put it in here. If I wanted to bake this, I could, but I really just like the freshness of it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Whoa, I'm noticing these green ones are way hotter than the red ones. So maybe these are jalapeno peppers. And that surprises me that the red ones are not as hot as the green. But woo, it's tasty but good. If I had some bean dip, this would be great to dip it in. I really love spice, jalapeno, chili pepper, cayenne. Those are my favorites. How about you? Whew, my mouth is still burning. I'll take a drink of water soon. But it's like the poet needs the pain, you know? It's just really nice. It feels nice in my mouth. And it's not just hot in my mouth. It feels nice and hot and warm in my stomach. And I like that. How about you? So I was just taking a bite out of the red one here. Well, I cut the end off here and eating that. And I'm not sure what these are. They're some kind of chili peppers, but these ones are definitely jalapeno. Or not. Maybe I'm confused. Because there's green peppers. Some green peppers, seemingly they're green, but if you are gardening and you let them be, they will turn red. And so I'm wondering if it'll lose its spiciness and turn sweet. I never really thought about it before. I got it from my dad's garden. Maybe he just planted different kinds. But it's a good reminder to myself to do those taste tests as you're cooking, because even if I knew that these were jalapenos, depending on where they're at seasonally, if it's rained too much, it can definitely affect the spiciness. Something I'm noticing about the brown lentils, unlike the red lentils, the water didn't, overboil so easily. And so I'm wondering if it's the name brand, and I'll show you the name brand that I'm using right now. And I'm noticing it is the same brand. It's New Pack. So New Pack red lentils. I found it overboiled really fast with the red, but not so much with the brown. I'm wondering if you can relate. So my oil, it's cooled down now, and I just fished out the burnt pieces just so they don't keep cooking on me, and it's worth it to take the time to do that kind of stuff. So I've got this element on 2 because it's easy to turn it up, and then it's always a bit of a struggle if you're trying to turn it down. And I just threw some garlic in here just to kind of see where it's at. So that's how I knew I needed to make the oil hotter. And that also it was cooled down from last time. So hopefully you can hear me okay with this fan. It's worth it having it on. Today is a humid day. It's kind of humid in the kitchen, so I'm excited to be done cooking and just let the fresh air come in. There's a lot of traffic passing by and whatnot. I also wanted to mention different oils cook at different temperatures. So I forgot about that. So I'm wondering if you can relate. And I know like sesame seed oil in particular, it just like fries in no time. I like to use it as a dressing for that reason. I thought about getting some nuts or something like that, but I think this is good enough for today. And my intention at this time is to mash up my cumin. I'm gonna add the garlic. That way it can just kind of cook a little bit from the warmth from the lentils. And I'm gonna add cumin that came out a bit scattered, whatever. And then I'm gonna put it in here. Now, if I bake this, it's gonna actually increase the heat, and that's okay. I think I just wanna honor it being fresh though as it is. And then when I serve it, I'll probably just cut these in half, maybe in 3. That way you could take like a big piece at a time. And we'll see how the meal comes together. I'm noticing that my garlic here is just starting to fry. And the nice thing is when you're making aliol, if you make the garlic oil and it's a little bit ready too early, that's okay. You know, you can just give it a quick heat up at the last minute. I still have to boil the pasta noodles. I want to do that last. I want to make sure I take care of this lentil business before I start worrying about the pasta. I'd rather just have this sit on the side and also just kind of let it marry in here. So I'm wondering if you can relate. And this big pile here is dedicated to my aliol. I feel like it's going to need more oil, so I'm just going to add some now. Give it a moment to heat up. And I'm also used to using a big flat frying pan when I make aliol, and so I like this bowl. And then once I'm done my spaghetti noodles, once they're done boiling, what I usually do is I dump it right into this pot. But for today, I'm going to be dumping this into my big spaghetti pot after I strain it. So it's flexible. I'm wondering what you do. And really, I mean, there are no limits to cooking. You could add different vegetables. If you wanted to add tomatoes to it, you could. I have onions, but today I just really want to highlight the garlic. And you know what, for what it's worth, a lot of people, they don't eat garlic or onions. They think it's annoying to cut it up. The struggle is real, just with it, you know, staying fresh. And also, onions make you fart, right? But the thing is, that's all part of our digestive system. So, you know, instead of taking pills, for example, to help you with your constipation and whatnot, like what about eating good old-fashioned garlic and onions? And I remember I would just buy garlic and onions all the time, and I didn't know what I was going to make for dinner, but as a standard, I would just start frying that up. And then I don't remember where I picked this up, but it was about top foods, and kimchi was one of them. And So were garlic and onions, because it just defaults to providing you with all kinds of nutrients. And I thought, you know, just things like the common cold that helps you out with that. These would definitely help you out with that too. So now I'm worried my oil is too hot. So it's just starting to kind of like boil without going black on me. So that means it's a nice temperature. I love that sizzling sound when I add it in. Oh, and it smells fantastic. Just want to reevaluate here before I get a bit too garlic happy. I've got some garlic here to mix with this. Garlic for my garlic bread. Maybe I'll add a bit more to that pile. And the rest of this is going in here. Just going to give my hands a rinse and mix it up. All right, so I found a wooden spoon, and I had a little laugh because the spoon has seen better days. My dad, he's on the creative side, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was intentional, because it's handy for this kind of thing here when you're scooping it. So this smells phenomenal. When you're making aliol, you might be like me and think, did I add enough oil? But like I said, you could always add more at the last minute. It's fine. And I'm just noticing there's a little back piece there from earlier. So I'll just fish that out. It's really not a big deal. And I like adding salt to this and pepper, but I won't do that until the end. Just really enjoying the sights and the sounds. The fan is kind of interrupting that, but whatever. My lentils, they're pretty much ready. I'm just going to boil it until all that water is gone. And I think now might be a good time for me to add my garlic in here. But the point I wanted to make with the aliol is that when the oil is hot, it thins. So a little goes a long way. So just keep that in mind when you're making it. Basically, once the garlic is cooked, it's ready. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to add my parsley literally at the last minute. I'll probably just add it to the individual plates. So I'm just going to turn off the camera because I want to focus on my oil here. So my garlic, it's almost ready. The lentils, I'm going to add cumin to it now. So I just removed it from the heat. How much am I going to add? I don't know, this much. And I have a lot of experience cooking with cumin. I like a lot, but I will taste test it. So I'm just mashing it up with the spoon here. I'm going to add a little bit of canola oil. You can use olive oil. I'm just using what's available here. And I'm noticing my garlic, it's just starting to brown. And I can tell just by the way it feels, it's nice and soft. So this is ready, folks. So just remove that from heat and just leave it there. I'm going to turn off this fan. I'm still getting used to this kitchen. Let me just put this on pause. It's very quiet now without that fan on. So my garlic here is ready. It's nice and soft. If I wanted to, I could have taken this and put it in there, whatever. I was after the fresh raw garlic. So I'm just mashing this up. And I'm going to do a little taste test. It's really good. I can't really taste the garlic in it though. So I think I will add some of this to it. How much? I don't know that much. Oh, it's really hot. I always like to add salt and pepper last. So since I'm going to be putting it inside these peppers, I'm just going to add salt and pepper now to it. This is Kirkland brand black pepper. This is Kirkland brand sea salt. I was really enjoying using the rock salt. I'm having a brain fart right now. What was I using? It was that Aurora brand, and it'll come to me later. But anyways, sea salt. I haven't had sea salt in a while, and that's all I used for years. So it's nice to have it again. And it's in you can crack it just like the pepper, so that's nice. I'm not being endorsed by these companies. I'm just sharing with you what's in the kitchen, what I'm using. So salt, pepper to taste. This spoon here, I used it to fish out my garlic so it's clean. My cooties aren't all over it. Personally, I think it needs more salt. So if I was serving this with, tacos or something like that, I would make sure that I add the salt in advance. But if I was just serving it as like a side dish that somebody would scoop into their plate, then I would let them add salt to their taste. And once this meal is ready, if the people eating it want to add more salt, pepper, they can. So it's nice and flexible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some water in my pot to boil those pasta noodles. So things are transforming here, and that's what I love about cooking in the kitchen. Actually, I'm going to add this to my aliol because I'm thinking, why not? And the garlic bread, I'm just going to take some of my aliol and put it on there before I add it to the pasta sauce. And my oil is still very hot. I'll just show you here. So, and I do this kind of stuff with onions too. Like I'll fry up onions and intentionally I'll keep some on the side just so it's a little bit harder of a texture. It's mixed in there. You get the raw salt mixed in there, the raw onion mixed in there as well. In this case, it's garlic. And I'm going to get busy stuffing these. So my water here is boiling. This element is still on the hot side. So I thought, you know what, as long as I'm here monitoring this, I'm going to just keep this here and let the new garlic that I added get nice and married in there. So I'm finding with these here, the struggle is a bit real trying to stuff them, whatever. So I think I'm going to just slice these up and have it as like a dipping sauce, if you will. Here's your virtual bite that you can sneak in. Yum, yum, yum. I don't know if you can see the steam. Looks and smells phenomenal. So I'm going to get myself a new spoon because I'm going to do this with this one. I'm going to put the jalapenos are really hot, and so the brown lentils help to balance the heat. So it worked out actually that I didn't stuff them. Had I stuffed them, whatever, but I find it, I probably would have wanted more lentils with it anyways. And that's what I mean about not getting hung up on end results, right? Mm, mm. It's really good. I'm just waiting for my water to boil to make the spaghetti noodles, and I'm really satisfied with my sauce here. So I removed it from uh, the element that was still on the warm side, and now it's just not on any hot. It's on a cool element, if you will. I'm going to put this on a plate, and if I was going to a party or something, maybe I would put this dip in the middle, and then the stuff around it. If I was making a charcuterie board, maybe I would put this in like a little I don't know, like something for a cup, or I would just plop it on the board as is. You could dip celery in here or carrots. But I'm finding this to be really tasty, actually. So hopefully there's some left over for dinner. I wonder if you can relate. So here's my lentil cumin dip with some garlic and canola oil mixed in there. If I wanted to, I could take some of my parsley and fancy it up, but that's not what cooking with Gina is about. I have a feeling I'm going to be getting some more peppers from the garden. This is really tasty. If there's leftovers, there's leftovers, but I have a feeling this is all going to be gone. And I'm wondering if you can relate. So in 10 minutes, I actually have an online event. I'm going to be late for it, or I can just, you know what, continue to relax in the kitchen. Clearly, I got caught up in timelessness, and that's okay. When I went in the garden to get those fresh peppers and the parsley, excuse me, was just kind of experiencing timelessness in itself. I'm not facilitating, and the good news is the event that I'm attending, they provide the recorded session. So it's nice to be live, but today I won't make it and I won't be stressed out about it. And that's okay. It's okay. It's like driving. It's better to arrive alive than, get there and you're in an accident or something like that. And when I'm finished cooking, I want to enjoy my meal. I don't want to be rushing it. So I feel really good about it. And anyways, my water here is just about boiled. This naan bread, it says garlic. It doesn't smell very garlicky. We'll see how it tastes. And Siraj, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it properly. I'm not being endorsed by these companies. If you'd like to endorse me, please do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my garlic here and literally just put like, I don't know how much, that much. And that's one of the joys about cooking. You don't have to get hung up. Sometimes I like to put black olives and tomatoes on here. And then when I stir this, I mean, I'm just spreading this around, but when I serve this, I'll probably cut these into like pizza slices. That way they could dip it in the tasty lentil dip that I made. And I'm going to toast these. So I'm just going to put it on pause, get these in the toaster, and add my noodles. So just having a little laugh for the sake of space. I had to cut one lengthwise. That's okay. That's what it's all about. You make it work. Arguably, I could have left it, but you just want to be mindful when you're cooking that you're not overlapping things, but they can be close to each other. It's fine. So I was just thinking about Iron Chef. It's one of my favorite shows to watch. Iron Chef Japan, of course, with Chairman Kaga. And one of my favorite Iron chefs was the guy dressed in red, Oxabro Machiba. There was the guy in the blue, and I forget his name right now in this moment. And Chen Kenichi was the guy in the yellow. Raksabro Machiba was the blue guy, and Hiroyuki Sakai, he was my favorite in the red. And I forget which Iron chef it was, but they would do this thing where they would just dip the ends of the pasta noodles. That way it would make like a fan shape. So I was just thinking about that. I'm wondering, who are your cooking heroes? What cooking shows did you watch growing up? I watched a lot of Yan Can Cook. I remember when Christine Cushing was cooking. That was exciting because she was a female and she was Canadian, and it was just really cool. She would go to local restaurants and whatnot and just enjoy, like, you know, a coffee and a bagel here and there. So she didn't just cook food, she would explore food as well. These are the days before the internet, right? So, whoa. I used to add salt and oil to my water, but not anymore. I'm not familiar with this name brand, so we'll see how they do. We will see. And the garlic naan bread, I got it on toast, so it's not like on broil or anything like that. I don't like cooking just the top. I like cooking the top and the bottom, and I like it to be nice and toasty. The best garlic bread, that is my favorite way to make it, is just get one of those big long French loaves, slice it lengthwise in half, toast it in the oven, and then I like to take the fresh raw garlic and scratch it on. That's my favorite way to have it. And if you're stuck for garlic, like I said, garlic powder is always a real hit, and especially it's good just to have on hand for camping or those days that you don't feel like getting out, or if you just find yourself short of ingredients. So I'm wondering, how do you manage, and what's your favorite way to have garlic? So I got the fan back on. It's getting too hot and steamy in here. I'm not used to working in this kitchen. I was feeling overwhelmed here and there. So I feel like as I'm making these videos, I'm self-coaching at the same time, not to get overwhelmed, turn off the oven. And I'm still finding a lot of presence and joy in cooking. I haven't added any oil to this, and I don't think I need to. I'm wondering about you. And I wasn't really hungry when I started cooking, but now I'm getting hungry, and part of me just wants to get into that lentil dip that I made. Oh, I guess the temperature is right. I thought it was like a toaster where it was like putting in a, like, you know, when you're toasting bread into toast. I thought it was like that. So live and learn. It's okay. But anyways, I put the peppers and lentil dip on the table. It's probably a good thing, so I don't eat it all. And I'm wondering if you can relate. Whenever I'm boiling pasta, I like using the big tall pot, but this is what was in the cupboard. And if I don't have to add oil, I don't want to. So just being mindful that I'm spreading it around so it's not sticking together. A lot of folks out there, when they're finished cooking their pasta, they immediately rinse it under cold water so it stops cooking. I really don't like doing that because I find it just like it alters the taste of the noodles. So if I'm making macaroni salad, like a cold pasta, I'll do that just to cheat the system and get it cold right away. That's assuming I'm eating it right away. Otherwise, I like to, I wouldn't say undercook my noodles, but I just, as soon as they're ready, I strain it because I know it's going to cook a little bit more. And that's all part of my ways of knowing. So I'm wondering if you can relate. How do you cook your noodles? Do you add salt and oil? Are you one of those people that you rinse it? I know a lot of restaurants, they make their pasta in the morning and then they keep it in the fridge. So it's ready to cook, like to fry up later on. But for me, nothing beats it when you boil it fresh like this. I'm noticing too, for what it's worth, it's not overflowing. I was worried about that. just because I've never used this pasta before. I was like, did I add too much water? I added the whole pack in here. And I'm a really big fan of the tongs, just to help, move things around. And I'm also a big fan of scissors. Instead of using a knife, I like to use scissors when I can. So I'm wondering about you. So I'm not really sure what I didn't do, but it turns out this thing, you have to set it on a timer and set the temperature. So when I just hit toast initially, it just toasted for like 2 minutes and that was it. It turned off, but now it's going to toast for about 4 minutes and then I'll check in and see where it's at. Live and learn. I'm not sure I like this toaster oven actually. I might just use the big oven next time. That's part of my reflection for today's meal. And I'm just going to tidy up a little bit while these noodles are boiling. I like to clean as I go because I don't like having a big mess in the kitchen. How about you? I like to keep things clean and then it's not, overwhelming. So how do you manage? So I'm just doing a little check-in on the texture. I think it's perfect, so I'm going to strain it. But not before turning off that fan, and I just wanted to take a moment and appreciate this sound. You hear it? As I try not to steam my face. And, I think that's why cooks have good skin, because they're always getting their face steamed, right? How about you? So in the kitchen, everything happens all at once. Just going to take these out. And, upon reflection, I think I was just excited there to get these in. But usually when I'm toasting things, I like to switch it, and whatever I have in the front, I put in the back. And I didn't do that, but that's okay. So they look really great and toasty. I'm just going to, with the space, I've got my pan, it's empty here, and I'm just going to add my noodles. So the rest is really simple. I added my noodles. Typically, I would add butter and other stuff or like oil to it, but given the fact that this is an oily dish, I'm just going to do this here. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to get my tongs. I'm just going to put some in here. That way it gets all the oil. Just remove that from the heat. And then this part here, okay, put it back on the heat. The element's off. I intentionally want to keep it on the element because it's keeping the oil really liquidy because it's on the hot side. So I just want to like grab it and turn it. Grab it and turn it. If you work with this too much, then it'll start to turn into like a mush. That's with any pasta or rice or dough. And I'm just having a moment thinking about my teaching career. We would paint and we would always do it in different parts. And so if we were painting a scenery, we would paint the whole paper, blue or black, depending on what the background was. And then we would do, part two. And I would tell my kids, like, even though you're having fun, you have to stop. Otherwise, you're going to get a hole in the paper. It gets too wet. That's kind of like cooking. I just want to make sure that all the noodles have oil. And it looks like they do. The parsley, it doesn't really add any flavor. It's just nice to have in there. I like to add salt to it. And some pepper. Ugh. There's a big chunk in there. Oh, can you see this okay? So I'm just gonna give this a stir and remove it from the heat. So just before I remove this from the heat, if for some reason I found that it was too dry, this would be the time where I would add a bit more oil to it. If I felt like I didn't add enough garlic, well, I could always add garlic powder to it. So I'm just gonna remove it from the heat and let it sit for a minute just to kind of let the oil get mixed in there nicely with the noodles. So I got my garlic bread here, and I'm just going to tidy up these crumbs and show you my plate. So I've been taste testing throughout, and I know that I like to add salt over top of all of it. Just going to do that. Some lentils on there. Fresh parsley on top. I like to take big bites of pasta. How about you? It's really good. Really, really good. And then my this here I already tasted with the red pepper. When I was plating it, I made it a point just to dump the lentil dip right on top of it. So I got it here too with the garlic naan. Really good. Thank you for watching Cooking with Gina. My name is Gina Virginia Casella, and I'd like you to subscribe and like my YouTube, Gina Virginia Casella, and also to join my Facebook group, Present Moment Alchemy, and let me know in the comments how you're enjoying food at home. Take care, and I'll see you next time.